What's going on, guys? JPA Trades here, and I'm going to be going over how to grow a small investment account or how to just grow your account in general, as well as kind of touching base on the challenge account we're doing on Twitter, the $500 challenge account. So, before we get started, just want to say thanks everyone for coming, all the support on Twitter and YouTube, and if you like what you see and want to see more, leave a like on the video. So the big thing with investing is kind of turning your high risks into low risks. And I just want to show this chart real quick before we get into the plays. But so we're starting with $500 on the top here, and and the goal of the challenge is keep it under 20%. And personally, I think $500 is kind of a low starting point for investment. I know it might seem like, oh, but I only have 250, I only have 300. I mean, I remember when I first started, I tried the same thing, only putting a couple $100s in the market at a time, but I was always putting all of my money in a position at a time and then really up and down in the getting started. And I talked about kind of that in one of the earlier videos. So I would say 500 is kind of the bare minimum, but if it was the perfect world, I think like 2,500 or 2,000 is like the perfect starting point. And I mean, you might have to go without going out drinking some nights, go without that extra dinner, eat a bowl of ramen noodles. I was just eating like eggs for breakfast, eggs for dinner, and then water. As I was, I mean, it sounded like a gambling addict when I first started, but I guess it paid off, so it's worth it. But nonetheless, let's get started with the 500 example. So 500, what we're going to do is you could do 500, use 100 in usage, and then like I said on Twitter, you want to kind of be able to walk in and out. So you're going to be looking for like 50-cent option contracts and do that till you get up to that 200. So once we get to 1,000, we'll be sitting pretty good because I like that $1 premium option sweet spot. So that basically lets you trade anything like the Teslas, Nvidias, Apples, essentially any stock you want. Where when we first started out, AMD was kind of the best call, I thought, simply because we were able to get those cheap 60 cents contracts, and it ended up working out really well for us. So walk your way up, and then once you get to that 200 level, I mean, all you really need for those big moves is $100 contract. You can buy SPX contracts that cost $100 and they move really good, and you're really right where you want to be. So you can kind of hold that 200 right till you get down to that 3 to 5% is where I like to keep my normal portfolio at. And then you start ramping your capital up again. So then you can start going to like 250, 300. And then you just kind of just start keeping that snowball rolling from there. You always want to be in situations where your emotions are as minimal in the market as possible and you're just trading on what you see in front of you. So it starts scary from that 500 till about 2,500, 3,000. And you can get there by investing and doing better. You can get there by just working harder in real life. You can get there by just, hey, instead of going out to eat or instead of going out tonight, I'm just going to stay in and do something small. You might save yourself an extra $50. You can put another $50 in your account just to kind of help keep that growth going, keep that movement going so you can really kind of get up to that threshold. And hopefully we're able to do with the 500 on Twitter and really jumpstart a lot of people and kind of help the process out. So I hope that's possible, and I hope we're able to do it. But really, the big thing to focus on is it'll get much easier for you if you can just get to that point where you're not so nervous about it. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit with what happened on the challenge account on Twitter. So here was the $500, how we got started. $500 to $10,000 was the goal because that's what you guys voted on, then 20% usage. But what happened is the first day we bought it, so it was still in the uptrend, and when it ended up going down 50% the first day. So I bought this. So in my main account, I was able to roll down because I had the extra capital, but I also wasn't never worried about losing that money. And that's one of the things why I don't like challenge accounts, is because to me this money it's for fun. It's a game. But when I first started, it wasn't a game. When I first was doing this, when it was my real $500, it was oh, this was my night out that I don't get to do. I made all this sacrifices to do it, and here I am down for no reason. So it's real. I understand when they say I got nervous and sold early, or I got nervous and didn't want to sell. And I really, really understand everything that you guys are going through for that. And that's why I try to really preach that 3 to 5% is where you want to be, because it takes that nervousness out of it. It doesn't make you sweat it out. But regardless, this is what happened. So the first night it went down. We were down 50% on the 89 puts in the challenge account, but Snapchat reported, which is why I wasn't too nervous about holding any extra. And I still maintained that rule that I didn't want to keep adding more contracts, because I'd start having more and more of my account out there in the void. So I didn't add anything else. We just let it sit out there. And we went to bed overnight, and then it ended up doing a lot better because our AMD, we were able to walk our way out. And this is back to what I was saying of, you want to have more than one position, more than one contract, simply so you're not nervous about what's going on. You want to be able to be there and say, okay, I can sell this 89 put for $1 on that initial jump down, and then wait to see what happens next. I've put out on the charts for AMD kind of what I thought would happen across the week with some DD posts and stuff I made. And if there's enough, if enough people comment and say they want it or whatever, I can go and do a full kind of play breakdown on what I was looking at. But from just a account management perspective, this is what I was looking at and what I was thinking of. I'm above 50%. So when you're first starting out, you want to take those profits a little bit earlier. But again, if we held it down 50%, we don't want to sell it when it's up 20%, because you don't want to hold your losers deep red and then sell your winners as soon as they're green. You want to be there, and it has to be worth it on that risk reward. So about 60% there, just kind of doing some quick back in my head, is what we sold the first one green, which is really good. And then the second one, like 120% green. And they went even further. I think they went to like 2.0 actually. And I would have loved to hold that long, but I just ran out of contracts in the challenge account. So what's great, I'll just say in the main account, you're able to kind of slice it up. So once you get bigger, same thing where we kept that $200 the same back in the previous example, you'll be able to have a couple more contracts to hold more and more to the end. Because eventually you're going to be in one of these situations where you're able to have a multi-day hold on something because you'll catch the right direction. If you have enough contracts that you can walk your way out, it's really, really good, because that's how you get those huge, like you're never going to hold, you're not going to have 100 contracts of AMD and hold all 100 exact to the bottom. You might do a swing and end up really, really fortunate in the morning or something, or overnight, and then end up with just huge profits first thing in the morning, and it's great that you were on the right side of the news or right side of whatever goes on. But in reality, what's normally going to happen is you'll buy a position, you'll observe the move either during the day or at the initial open of the overnight swing, and you start walking out. So my goal is to get 100% is where I like to do my first trims. The market isn't as conducive to those moves, so I've, for small accounts, really strongly reinforcing that 50%-ish range to take the first profits. But in the same regards, VIX is really low right now, so you have the opportunity to hold things. So we're just going to keep moving along. So got the challenge account up to $600. Same with any small account, you got a little bit more. Not going to jump the gun. We made $100. We're not going to make the next position $300 right away. We're going to stick to that 20% goal. Since it's a challenge, I'm going to stick with 20% in the challenge. But if you guys want to say, hey, I kind of like this idea of making my risk smaller and smaller and just keep walking my way through each time, feel free to start scaling it down. If you're like, I just want to do $100 every time and try to get 50-cent contracts, that works too. Because what's really important in growing a small account, just as much as your risk management, is keeping your emotions in check. And I believe in all you guys. I know I'm no one special. I'm just your average Joe Schmo, and I know if I was quite able, I don't feel like I do anything special. I don't feel like I was lucky on anything. I feel like I just kind of made so many mistakes that I figured it out. So if you're feeling discouraged with anything, if you think you don't have enough, don't feel discouraged. Tons of people are in the position you're in right now, and I believe in you. So with that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you later.